If you've ever spent 4 hours editing a 30-second video or stared at the Premiere Pro timeline pondering on what you're going to add to spice up the raw footage, then I have some good news and I have some bad news. The bad news is that by spending 4 hours on a 30-second video, you're losing time. And since as an editor, the revenue you generate is directly correlated or directly tied to the available time that you have, then you're losing money in the process of editing that one video. Now that we've gotten the bad news out of the way, the good news is that you can actually edit faster with this 3-part workflow that I'm going to share with you in this video. After watching this video, you're never going to sit at the Premiere Pro timeline pondering on what you're going to add to spice up the raw footage. You'll also learn how to use the unfair advantage that all the Adobe apps give you. And then finally, I share some AI tools that you can use to do those small but yet time-consuming tasks of editing. So without any further ado, let's learn something new. If you suffer from blank editing syndrome, aka creative block, then imagine anytime you got blank editing syndrome, you took a pill and then boom, your mind is just flooded with ideas. While you actually can take a magic pill to cure you of blank editing syndrome. And the worst part is that all of the top editors are overdosing on this one pill. It's literally like steroids, but for video editors and creatives. And that magic pill is a swipe file. It's a folder that has a collection of things that you've liked. So for me, I have a bunch of lower thirds, motion graphics, and videos with video effects and video edits and video graphics and video stylizations that I like. I just doom scroll on YouTube and I find videos that I like and I put that in that folder. I just go back to that folder whenever I go blank, and I have never stared at the Premiere Pro timeline pondering on what to add to spice up the raw footage. But if you want to edit even faster, here's an overview of my best practices from cutting to exporting. When I cut, I try to use my mouse the least as possible. I use the shortcut on my keyboard, which is Q to cut to the left, and then U to cut to the right, and then Ctrl+K to split it in half. And then while I cut, if I'm editing a fast-paced video, I put my clips in a JCut format so that it keeps the audience engaged. And then captions. The reason why I do captions second is because they are the most time-consuming parts of video editing. Ask anyone who does it. What I do is that I create a text preset, and then from the text preset, I then generate the auto captions from that text preset that I created. And then after I complete captions, I go to the third most time-consuming part of video editing, which is color grading. I don't really have any cool hacks for color grading. All I can say is that create presets. When I color grade footage, I have a preset for the outdoors, for the wild, for studio settings, for indoors. If you have any tips for color grading workflows, then drop them down in the comment section below. And then for music, I use the Epidemic sound plugin, so I can just drag and drop the music inside the timeline, or I use the other plugin, which I'm going to mention towards the end of this video in the bonus section with all the AI tools that I mentioned to you earlier on. And then for animations are pretty simple to optimize because there's only a handful of ways that graphics can move inside of the timeline. I just created drag and drop presets for all the different types of movements in Premiere Pro, and then I just drag and drop them in once I need to use them. And then Frame.io is the best tool for client collaboration. What it allows your clients to do is that it allows clients to make comments on specific time markers, and then once you add the plugin, those time markers will show up in your timeline. And then finally, Epidemic Sound. I use this just in case I can't find the right type of music that I'm looking for inside my Premiere Composer files, which is basically the music that I have downloaded. So if I need new music, I would just go to the Epidemic Sound plugin and I'll download that music and drag and drop it into the timeline and use it that way. Anyways, that's the end of this video. If you found value from this video, subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video that I'm going to be making.